If you've been around PCs for long enough, this is one case that you would have seen at least once, probably more in the past 20 years, possibly 15. I'm not sure the original release of the Elite 344, but this one I have seen it over probably 15 years ago, and the design of it has not changed since. Granted, the power supply, I don't reckon it was black last time I saw it. Look at going on here. Look at the craftsmanship. There's a weird overlap of metal. Good old edges to slice your finger off. I think I've probably sworn at this case quite a few times. There used to be two of these, I reckon, for water cooling. They realised no one's really using it. Black off plates. So I'm going to be putting a board in here. Let's go. Promising start. The thumb screws aren't ridiculously godly tight. How about on the other side? They're actually finger tight. The craftsmanship is brilliant. We slide this back. What do we see? Ooh, an Elite Nex PN 500. That is a model I can't say I'm familiar with, but at least it's not an L generic power supply. Probably still a generic power supply, but you get that. We have some of the usual paper. Not sure if this is like moisture absorbing or why they put it in there. Case, we have the quality paint. You can see the overspray. Marvelous. Put that down here. We do have one included 120mm fan, possibly 140mm. If I can zoom in there. Can you guys see it? I'm going to assume that's a 120mm. Then we have one spot for a floppy drive, a hard drive, and two ROM bays with toolless design. Sheerly a peak engineering. Why did they go further than this? With a brilliant overspray. Why bother painting the inside when no one's looking at it? We do have one removable shield here, one included power cable, AU, because I'm from the AU, various screws, and what do we have here? We have CPU, 1, 2, 3, 4 SATAs, one power, two Molex, and one 8-pin, there we go, one 8-pin graphics. Cool. I'm gonna get a board in here. First we'll check out the screws. Extremely IKEA. And 3 screws. 9 standoffs. Gotta put them in, you peasant. And 16 of these, and apparently 17 of these. They expect a lot of hard drives. Put those raised standoffs in, and I'll get that board in there and report back. As much as I'm ragging on this particular case, one thing I did not find very nice is with my tool to screw the risers in, I didn't actually pre-put these in. They've actually had either someone or a machine has actually gone over and deburred these. So many times when you're putting in riser screws directly into the board, even over here, they normally end up just becoming, like, you get them on a slight angle and they're an absolute pain in the ass. These ones, buttery smooth. Good job, Coolermaster. It's nice to see that this 15-year-old case is still getting incremental improvements. Here's another one that's not normally fun to put on. Let's see if the I/O shield can press in and click in one-handed. No, because look at that flex going on here. Ooh. Look on the outside. Click. Apart from that flex here, which I'm assuming maybe why that's put in to reinforce it, or just for the graphics card. Another thing to note is this is seam fold. It's folded onto a seam, I'm not slicing my finger open. I'm pretty sure that used to be just cut out on the earlier models of this case from years ago, because I remember it always being sliced there and sliced here. I do like that it's a very large cutout now. I'm assuming that has changed over time. The cutout here is so you can access the back plate on the AM4 and AM4 boards, which likes to fall out when you try and change the cooler inside the case. So I'm going to assume that's why this is now cut out larger, or it would have just been a little dish like this. Looking at it here, this is something I haven't seen for a while. A Molax splitter or Molax pass-through to fan header. So I'm going to unplug that and just plug the fan directly in, and then this little adapter here will be no longer useful, or at least being used on this case. While we're here, let's have a look at the back. As I said, this massive cutout, and see if it's folded over or pressed in, not too sure. But we can definitely access the back plate if we do change that cooler. See the power supply up here. Here's the more power requirements of it. I'll spin this around. My camera will be upside down for me, but that should be the right way up for you. There we go. And access the other side of the drives up here, all fairly standard. I do like that this is now smoothed out rather than a wrist slasher. Same up over here. Nope. So a bit more seam folding. Definitely needed. Definitely was needed 15 years ago. The amount of blood sacrifices this case would have given, quite high. Cabling here, pretty straightforward. 1, 2, 3, USB 3. I've got them coiled up around here. Sadly, there's nowhere to push it off to the side out here. So you just kind of got to be a bit janky and just go with the jank. Yeah, previously I'd much rather have a cutout on one of these sides just to feed it through. There's nothing underneath either to pass it underneath. And then the power supply is even bigger. Since there's more cables, it's just a bit more of a pain to actually fit it in there properly. I've just got it mostly coiled up here. You could try and feed it in there, but I did find the power supply cable to be a bit too strong and didn't really want to snake back that way. So I've just pulled off the backing. We have one beautiful power LED up here, one hard drive activity LED. Right now it's still trying to boot up. One spinning CPU fan, one spinning case fan. Not really generating much heat. Right now it's doing RAM training, so it's going to take a while to turn on. But I'll put it on the side panel, and we'll see it in its all non-impressive glory. Look at that. You can almost see a black side panel. You can't tell if this is a computer from today or from 20 years ago. Looking around the front, the exact same Elite 344 case as I remember. If I saw this at a e-waste recycler or the tip, I would assume it would be a very ancient computer. This one's currently running a Ryzen 5 7600 and 32 gig of RAM. Looking at it from the rear, much the same. Only eagle eye would be able to spot a black power supply instead of the regular beige or silver power supply that would normally be in there. And if we spin it around, plain black. None of this tempered glass stuff. So this one was a bit of a laugh to do. But I did have a customer that just wanted a very simple case, and they wanted front I/O, which this computer provides. Now that I look at the front I/O, we have two USB 2s and one USB 3. I thought that would be the other way around, so that is rather disappointing. But it did start out as initially just a joke to do a review on this particular case. It is around 100 Australian dollars for one of these, so it's not exactly an expensive case, especially when you factor in it comes with a 500 watt power supply with an 8-pin graphics connector on there. Granted, it's not my personal choice that I would go towards one of these. If you're after a gaming computer, you can definitely get a much better looking case for the same amount of money, and you could probably get a much better power supply for not too much more than what it is for this combo. But if you're wanting something that's simple, reliable, and been around for quite some time, hell, you might even want a sleeper build. It's not my personal choice, I'd much rather go white or beige. But if you wanted a sleeper build, so people couldn't even tell if this computer was built now or 20 years ago, the 344 very well may be the one to go for. Bye.